Hey everyone, what is going on? I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this is our Leo New Moon Workshop. So sometimes in astrology, the transits or the lunations are just very, what I like to say, loud or very obvious. And pretty much across the board, I've been witnessing in my own life, in clients' lives, in friends' lives, massive change, reinvention, and it's perfectly in alignment this Leo new moon with the current Venus retrograde, with Mercury in the pre-retrograde shadow. So with this workshop, I just want to identify a few things, give us a few tools to restructure how we think, and then at the end of this workshop, I have an exercise for us all to do. So as whoop, let's rewind for a little bit. So just remembering the basics of a new moon. Generally speaking, a time for a brand new cycle. The moon is now going to be growing and gaining energy, gaining light. So this is an opportunity for you to begin a new cycle, which I personally believe is going to be integrating a new change on how either you wish to be seen, how you wish to be loved, how you want to form out an identity, how you're wanting to engage with feminine energy, feminine individuals, feminine principles. These are all things wrapped up specifically in this Leo new moon. And with Leo, it's a fixed fire sign. So Leo being ruled by the sun, we always know that the sun is going to rise. There's always going to be another day. I mean, we believe so, but there's that presence of Leo energy. What I like to compare, if we're looking at all the fire signs, Aries would be like striking the match to light the log in the wood cabin. And then the Leo energy is that log burning all day, all night to keep the inhabitants warm. And then the Sagittarius energy in this analogy would be like understanding how we can use that fire to maybe light some candles within the home, or maybe we're going to take a log and put it in the master bedroom's fireplace. So now we have two fires burning. Or how can we be adaptable with this light, with this heat, with this passion to disperse it even more? And so if we're talking about Leo being the fire that's keeping everyone warm, generally speaking, when you have an elevated or an evolved Leo presence, they do have that solar energy. They're very warm, they're very loving, they're very protective. So with that even part in your natal chart, even if you don't have any Leo placements at all, you can look to the house in your chart ruled by Leo, and there's going to be energies there that are going to be always constantly present, or maybe things that you're thinking about or want to be a part of your energy, or that are very linked to your vitality or happiness, right? So that's one way to look at this, because this is a good time to pull up the chart here. With this new moon, we see that both the sun, the moon, and of course, Venus retrograde are all currently in Leo. So this new moon, I believe, is going to be happening on Wednesday for all time zones, but it's at 2:38 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So also be cognizant of your dreams. Tuesday night, Wednesday, there's likely a lot to be happening in that subconscious realm, of course. The reason why I was talking about this reinvention, this change, is because both luminaries, the sun and the moon, are making that exact square to Uranus. So remember that both Leo and Taurus are fixed signs. So this is actually quite nice that we have this square to Uranus, because fixed energy can often be resistant to change. They like what they like. They like having certain structure, certain power dynamics that they know and that they can trust and that they feel safe in. So that's also something to identify depending on where both the Taurus and the Leo houses fall in your chart. Where are you resisting change? Or where are you afraid that by changing, you're not going to be safe, or that you're not going to have the same power that you normally have? These are really things I want you to dive into, are the emphasis on change, power, and safety. And where is that currently happening for you? And where are you being called to expand your comfort zone, to expand what you believe to be true, and to expand how you are seen, to expand how you receive love, praise, and validation, to expand the love that you can give to others. These are all things that are going to be very much in play. And then this is also tying in the Venus retrograde. that has been happening since technically July 22nd, but basically all of July. Either Mercury was in the pre-retrograde shadows or in her retrograde phase. So this also could emphasize certain themes around that, how you're feeling, how you've been working through this time, what you are wanting to focus on moving forward, maybe what you've learned over the past 2.5 weeks of this retrograde thus far, what you're wanting to move in further. One thing I also want to emphasize is that both the sun and the moon can be linked to the father and the mother. So there also might be recalibrating energies around parents, parental roles, how you were raised, really going inward in terms of your own inner child work. What brought you joy when you were little? How are you integrating that now? Are you taking the things that you were learning or you were passionate about when you're younger and putting them into practice now? Or are we breaking down conditioning? That can also be this Uranus of, we're going to take everything that is no longer aligned and destroy it and restructure it to serve you better. It's almost like if you've ever had an injury or a surgery and you're learning to use that part of your body for the first time. It's like you're going back to the foundation, you're going back to the basics, and you are moving things in a way that are right to begin with. So maybe you're always doing that same movement with your body incorrectly because that's how you were raised. That's how you were taught, was to do that type of sprint or that type of push or that type of pull or that type of dance move. And it was never actually accurate. It was just taught to you by someone who was doing the best that they could. But now, after having the injury or after having the surgery, you are restructuring yourself, and it is going to take time. That is not going to be rebuilt and mastered overnight. But now you have the resources, the tools, the people that are in alignment to serve you, to foster you, to help you get stronger. You can use that same analogy with mindset, with beliefs, with paradigms, with conditioning, is that we all learned certain things along the way from people who were just doing their best, who were learning and teaching and imprinting on us what they believe to be safe or secure or successful. But now with this Leo new moon, we can see if our emotional state and our vitality and our strength are actually in alignment with those. So I'll give a quick example, a personal example that I've also been working through with this Venus retrograde. So I grew up in a very intense household. There was a lot of like discipline, a lot of structure, but there wasn't a lot of time for play necessarily. It was just very like work, 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 work. And so when I had time to play video games as a child, it was like my own personal time that there was no rules. I wasn't trying to do anything for anyone except for myself. And that's where I found a lot of enjoyment. As I got older, it wasn't really seen as responsible or a good use of time to play video games. And even I had a mindset. It's like, oh, it must be nice for people to play video games all day. Like if I had friends or romantic interests that were playing video games, I'm like, oh, like I have to do this and this and this. But I was telling myself that I had to do this and this and this based on all these people online or people that had imprinted on me that it wasn't a good use of time. But even now, current day, what is it, August 15th, 2023, I have so much fun when I'm playing either retro, old school video games from my childhood or new ones. It puts me in a state of happiness, of joy, of strategy, of thinking, things that I already love doing. And I'm not playing video games to impress anyone. Like I'm not doing it for a career. I'm not doing it for validation. I'm doing it for me. And it's also a great way for me to connect with that inner child where they wanted to feel safe. They wanted to just play. Now, I share that, of course, because there's often things that we get conditioned either from a young age or as we grow, or both, to be told that's not good, that's not smart, that's not wise, that's a bad use of money, whatever these thoughts and ideas are. Going back to the injury example, we either took this on from people that we trusted, people that we loved. They were just doing the best with what they knew at that time, but now we know better. Or we simply know, if you're watching this and you obviously are doing the work at some capacity, which is incredible. If everyone just did the work, where would we be? That's a great even thing to just like think and have strong trust in, that we're all doing this work on some level and we're all going to be healing and helping to hold space for each other. But going back to in terms of Where are you wanting to feel in alignment? If you've been doing this work, you can probably tell when your energy is off or when things are not being respected in terms of your boundaries, or where you're not being seen or how you want to be seen, or maybe where you weren't seen in the past. You're still trying to get that validation from a superior, from a boss, from a lover, from a parent, instead of just allowing yourself to be seen. Like yesterday, I was doing a whole bunch of chores and I'm like, I can't wait to just sit down and play video games. And it was making me so happy. And then when everything was done, I just like got in that state to relax and play the video game. And time just flew by and I felt so good. And I was like, this is the best. Like, this is me living my best life. I don't need to do anything else but this. We all have something like that in our lives, whether it is connecting with loved ones, whether it is sports, whether it is artistic endeavors, enjoying time with your pets, whatever it is. You have something in your life that's going to bring you joy, that is going to restore your energy levels. Prioritize that, make that a priority, because then you're telling yourself that it's okay to be in that frequency, to receive, to have fun, to have pleasure. And then you are likely to receive more downloads because you are in the feminine state of relaxing, of play, to then see, and this is the other side of this Leo new moon, how you want to be seen. If you can't even see yourself in that light, if you can't even respect your own desires, your own pleasures, how are you going to attract other people that are going to respect that? Going back to the video game analogy, I was on TikTok and there was an interview with Henry Cavill, Superman, I think, right? Superman. And he was just saying, there was an interviewer that was saying, like, true or false, this happened, blank. And apparently Henry Cavill was playing a video game, World of Warcraft, when he got the call that he was going to be Superman. So he was in a state where he was enjoying himself, one of the biggest actors in the world, playing video games in a state where he was probably enjoying himself, a state to receive. And that is when he got the call for one of his biggest, most well-known roles. And so, of course, I believe that I honestly just attracted that as validation. I'm like, great. This just further proves that I should be doing exactly what I'm doing to receive more blessings by doing something that I love. Done. And so if you want to be seen in a certain way, do that, embody it, exemplify it. And at first it might seem challenging or difficult because maybe you've never seen yourself that way. Maybe you were told it was wrong to see yourself that way or to exemplify those traits. And we all get to do this at bigger, more grand levels. I've shared one story before where, of course, I'm obsessed with Sex and the City. We know this. If you're new to this channel, hello, I'm obsessed. One of my ideals of making it was having my own driver, like Big does in the series. I like driving, but in the city, it's just so much easier for me to put on my AirPods, listen to a podcast, listening to empowering music, and be in that state when I'm in traffic. And another thing I really was invested into was fashion, clothing, how I present my stuff, my own personal style. And so one of my, and I've shared this with clients before, like my mindset was like, I just want to have a wardrobe full of Versace clothes. And I didn't believe it was going to cost an exorbitant amount of money because I always find sales. I always have when I was younger. I had to like almost do that to get my parents to justify like my spending. So it was like an ingrained thing that I'm just like, these things are going to be on sale. I'll get whatever I want on sale. And that always happens with different ways of me shopping, to the point where I've had multiple people this week send me this Versace sample sale that's happening in Vancouver. It's like up to 80% off. And this Versace sample sale is not happening in Toronto. It's happening in Vancouver. So I had this belief that I was going to have a wardrobe full of Versace clothes in 2020. And now it's 2023. And I'm getting all of these messaging that's like one of the things that I really love that makes me feel beautiful and powerful in alignment with my views of what I deem important in my life is now up to 80% off, that I'm not having to spend all this money. It's literally right at my fingertips. And again, I'm sharing this because whatever you want, whatever you are passionate about, whatever brings you joy, that lights you up, Leo, how you wish to be seen, how you are going to attract things that you love, that you want to nurture and share with others. You get to have it. You are always going to be meant for that. It's never going to go away. and you're going to have jobs and relationships and opportunities that will always be in alignment with that. But first, you have to believe it. You have to embody it. You have to know that it's already yours, because why would you even have that belief? Even for me, it's not like I was picking Gucci or Dolce & Gabbana. It was like Versace, and I have my own personal reasons why I love that brand. Whatever you want, get so specific as to why you want it, why it brings you passion. And I promise you, if you're committed to that frequency, if you're cutting out all other distractions, unaligned relationships, and energies that are not fulfilling that passion or those frequencies, there's no reason why you wouldn't get it. That doesn't even make any sense, right? It's like if you're plugged in to a certain plugin, you know there's going to be electricity coming in. If it's so many things are plugged into it and it's overheating and it overfuses a circuit breaker, then you go to the circuit breaker and you're like, okay, maybe some of these things that are plugged in, I don't actually need to plug in. I don't want the fuse to break every single time. So I'm going to like unplug these things that I don't actually need to then plug me in and know that there's going to be constant energy. Again, what are you plugging into yourself? What are you allowing in? And is it actually serving, or is it overloading you? And the plugins can be your beliefs, your mindsets around the things that light you up, that bring you joy, that how you want to be seen. All right. Is there anything else I wanted to touch on? I don't think so. One of the things that I've just personally, this isn't really linked to the new moon per se, but kind of with the moon dying, going into the underworld and then being reborn, is that like, we all know this, it's a very common saying, but like life is very short. You are going to die sooner than later, which I don't mean to be morose about, but I think a lot of times we safeguard our dreams. We don't allow ourselves to be seen in fear that it's not going to work. We're going to be embarrassed that people are going to leave us, right? Like even when I started Stillwater Alchemy in 2019, that summer I saw a lot of family members I hadn't seen for a very long time. And I was like, oh yeah, I started this small business. I kept saying small. And like in my head, I'm like, why do you keep saying small? And because for me, of course, it was easier to say a small business, because then if it didn't work out, it's not like I had invested that much energy into it. And then I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to keep saying small business. I can just say, I started a business. I started a business I'm passionate about. I started this really cool business. Again, words are spells. We know this. If you feel that you are shrinking yourself, your dreams, to get validation or to not receive critique or judgment from certain people, one, you don't need to share everything with everyone. I truly believe that. Two, ensure that you have certain people, whether they're friends, loved ones, coaches, mentors, whomever, that you do feel safe to share your true heart's desires, because they're going to be ones that are going to support you, going to love you, going to help fine tune those things, so that it's a consistent belief that it is safe for you to have those dreams. It is safe for you to have these joys and passions. It is safe for you to be seen. And then once you have that, then you just get to go to like 80% off Versace sales. And I don't want to sound like flippant or vapid about this, but just like, I just hear so many people make their lives harder than it has to be. It's like they're living in a perpetual state where it's always cloudy. And I do understand how mental health issues are a very real thing. But I also know that doing things that strengthen your mind, that strengthen your body, that strengthen your focus, are going to put you in a perpetual state where it's like you wake up and it's sunny every day, where you wake up and things get to be easy, where you wake up and have loving relationships in your corner supporting you every single day. But you have to be consistent. Fixed energy. You have to be consistent with what brings you joy and engaging in that and having fun and knowing that it's safe for you to have fun and to play, and that the work and the money is always going to be coming in. You have to believe that it is safe to be seen, to have loving people that are not going to steal your light, steal your love, steal your resources. You have to consistently be in a state where you have that strength and vitality to show up and know that's always going to consistently grow more and more and more. And if you have certain people or certain influences or certain, whether it's news or social media or like outside influence that's not in alignment, that's where we get to place the boundaries and then only allow things that are allowing you to shine greater and greater. So I know I usually end these workshops off with a meditation. However, The one meditation that I included in the Venus retrograde workshop is phenomenal. It's a lot about solar plexus chakra and allowing yourself to embody that power and to be seen. So I'm going to put the Venus retrograde workshop in the description of this video. I promise you it's worth the investment. I go into Venus retrograde energy as a whole. I also go through each rising sign and share how this Venus retrograde is likely to show up. There is a workbook with additional prompts and journals and exercises to move with this Venus retrograde. And even though the Venus station direct is going to happen at the beginning of September, Venus is still in her post retrograde shadows for the entirety of September. So understanding these themes, and also given that Venus retrograde is such a strong influence with this Leo new moon, that's a good resource for you to check out. But as an exercise to engage in with this Leo new moon, I want you, and I'm going to do this too, your dream day. You are going to get extremely specific, whatever time you want to wake up. It doesn't need to be 5 a.m. It doesn't need to be 8 a.m. It can be whatever you want that's in alignment that you feel good about. You are going to write down from when you wake up to when you go to bed, everything that you're doing throughout the day. And you can do it in terms of not working. It could be engaging in your dream career, dream position. It could be in terms of love and marriage and relationships. It could be time with your children, time with luxury, whatever it is. You could do your dream day in every single avenue, whether it's love, career, family, leisure. But I want you to get so specific on what you're doing, what you're eating, who you are around, what your view is. Are you working from home with a beautiful view of your backyard with the children playing? Are you working in a skyscraper with a view of the entire city skyline like you've wanted? What are you wearing? What are you eating? Who are you engaging with? I want you to get so specific. And the trick here is things that light you up, that you are a passion about. You can be like, my favorite purple power suit from Chanel. If there is something that really lights you up that you've always wanted, you can say that I get my food delivered from blank, your favorite restaurant. It just drops it off at your office door. You get to enjoy that meal as you go for a walk with your partner on your lunch break. Like, just get so clear so that we can start planting these seeds with the Leo new moon. So that the things that you want, the things that allow you to have so much joy and passion, how you're wanting to be seen, who you're connecting with, who you're sharing your light and love with, that gets to be infused. And you can also do this where it's your dream week, where you're planting these seeds for every day of the week. And you can do this for where you are right now. You can do this in 6 months from now. You can do this in a year from now, so that you can literally flip back in 6 months from now and in a year from now, and you can see everything that you've wanted manifest, or the seeds that are coming through. And this is also good accountability, so that in those moments where you need a little boost or things are out of alignment, you go back and you're like, this is what I'm working for. This is what's bringing me joy. This is what I'm going to put my focus into. So we can collapse the timelines. Like I said about kind of making it and having my own private driver, like Mr. Big from Sex and the City. I'm like, oh yeah, I can just get Ubers. So I already collapsed that timeline very easily. Like, the reason why we're doing this and the way that we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone, the way that we're expanding how we're being seen, our identity with this sun moon square to Uranus, is we want to be made uncomfortable. There should be a little bit of like, could I do this? Is this possible? Is this maybe going too far? That means that the work is working. And then if you're having some resistance, that's like, well, maybe I'm only working 10 hours a week. And if there's something in you that's like, oh, that doesn't seem possible, dive into that. If you're doing this exercise and it seems that it couldn't be true for you, it's not possible, how could this work? Go back and identify, like we said with the luminaries, the sun and the moon being strongly linked to the father and the mother, or the masculine and the feminine. See where in your life someone has told you that it's not possible to do what you want to do. And is that true anymore? It was probably never true. But if there's something in you that's resisting it, that's where you get to go deeper into the work, okay? And then, of course, if there are any general questions on anything that we discussed from this workshop, or if you invest into the Venus retrograde workshop, I answer any questions in there that's a priority of mine, given that people invest into that. So let me know. Either way, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm supporting you all the way. Please enjoy this lunation. The one final thing I wanted to mention, just as a heads up, and I shared this in the week ahead breakdown. So the Leo new moon is happening on Wednesday, but the very next day, so we have Thursday, August 17th, the moon is going to be directly opposing Saturn. So this is likely to manifest in where you need to have structure, boundaries, and discipline around your emotional well-being, around your mindset, potentially around anxiety, because with Virgo, it can sometimes manifest as a paralysis by analysis. So if you're planting all these seeds and there is an old trigger, or maybe there is a text or a DM that you would normally respond to, or maybe give your time to, or that might pull focus from your dreams, your aspirations, ask yourself if that's actually a conducive use of your time. And a final reminder, with all of this fixed energy, Leo and Taurus being activated, we're wanting to implement energies that you know that you can partake in, whether it is partake in, engage in, invest in on a regular basis. So let's say you really want to get your health back on track. Then we want to be able to carve out maybe 15 minutes a day that you go for a walk outside, that you know that you can commit to, no matter what your schedule is right now. So once you start building autonomy, you're like, oh yeah, I could probably up this to 20 minutes, 25, 30, so that we're creating a constant that you know that, oh yeah, this is something that I actually really want to invest into. I'm going to make it a priority. If it's something around a passion that you're like, great, I'm actually maybe not as focused as I had been on writing my book, so I'm going to invest into a mentor to keep me accountable, to understand the logistics of the publishing and editing world, so that I can go back to that mentor and submit what I've been working on this past week. And I know that's going to be in place 1 hour every week. There should be something that's keeping you accountable, and something that you've always wanted to do that's actually going to light you up, either in a way that you are being seen, in a way that you can share your gifts and share that love and light with others, but something that is happening on a consistent level. Especially if it's not consistent right now, or if it's something that you say you're going to do, but then you don't actually do it. That can also be a prompt or something to ponder, is why are you not prioritizing something that's either going to make you feel good or be in alignment with your hopes, dreams, and goals. Okay. So that's all for today. I'm wishing you all a fabulous, beautiful, prosperous new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.